muted. My mic was muted. Okay. So check out the countdown timer. Are you serious? Like right now. That was awesome. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Make sure to say hi if you are logging on. We want to make sure to say hello to you. Tonight is going to be super, super inspirational and motivating, and I cannot wait to have Heather as my guest and have her share part of her story. So if someone can just, I want to make sure all the tech is working fine, and if someone can just give me a thumbs up, or if you're on here and you have my number, text me and tell me that everything is fine. But I would love for you to put a comment down in the comment box below. Oh, good. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Heather. Super awesome guest. Oh, look. You can't see Heather right now because I have her in the shadows, but now she gets to see what an inspiration she is to people. Because this, when I found out, Veronica told me that there was someone in Reading, or a team in Reading, and I had found out that Heather was on that team. And I was like, I asked Veronica, I was like, do you think she'll be on my show? Do you think she'll be on my live show? I mean, my live show is still small, but we are growing and we are highly impactful here at the Rachel Freeman Sowers live show. And so I asked and she said yes. So I am not going to delay any further. I want to bring her on. There's going to be some times when you can comment and make sure if you need, or if you want to ask a question or something, you can do that too. And you can just do that in the comments. So, all right. So let's get Heather on here. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Everything is working. Yes. I love that.
Love technology.
Yes. I mean, it is brilliant. We do have to say that. So, okay, I'm ready to dive in. Are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready.
Okay, so first, I would love for you to just tell us who you are, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Heather Gustafson, and I am a management analyst for the city of Reading. That's what I do during the day. I'm a mother and a wife and a daughter. I love adventures and getting people out there to do things, to just explore. So I either go by myself sometimes or get a group of people to go or join in with others. I'm just a very active person. I don't sit still very well. So keeping me busy is the best way to keep me out of trouble and keep out of my head. So I try to stay as busy as possible.
Nice. Well, I just want to say again, thank you so much for being here. And let's dive in.
Okay.
So the latest, greatest thing you have done is that you have participated and finished the world's toughest race eco challenge, Fiji.
Correct. Yeah. So that was about a year ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Two of us were, we were all local to Reading. We competed together as a team and finished as a family. So We did it. Yeah, it was grueling. It was awesome. It was everything in between, peaks, valleys, a lot of self-discovery, a lot of, our team captain used to call it checking your intestinal fortitude. So just that gut check, that you against yourself, you have to keep going. Then you throw that into a team mentality and you have to keep going for your team. Mm-hmm. So our team kind of came to fruition through Stephen Bell, our team captain. He used to watch the show growing up and he really wanted to partake. And so he applied, filled out an application, and they said, put a team together. So he just word of mouth kind of threw some feelers out there in the community, and people were saying, oh, so-and-so does this kind of stuff, or so-and-so is crazy enough to want to do it. And so we all kind of came together, and we each had our different skill sets. I'm just kind of by nature an endurance athlete, so a lot of ultra marathons, just long treks, long backpacking treks, mountains, that kind of thing. But I didn't have biking skill sets, whereas Josh Watkins, one of our other teammates, is an amazing athlete in general, but spike skills are like his specialty. And Krista Jorgensen is just such an amazing, badass woman who also, she is just incredibly fit and capable. And so all of us kind of brought together these different skill sets that kind of made up a whole person that was perfect for this. I mean, we were all rookies. And, you know, Stephen had the military background, so navigation and just grit and that go drive. So combined, we just made it.
Yeah. What made you, what made you decide that, first of all, I want to do this, but then like, I can do it? Like, how did you get from, okay, here's a proposition to I'm going to decide? Tell me what a little bit about that process was.
A lot of it was just based on faith. And I was training for a ultra marathon in Romania called the Transylvania 100. And so a buddy of mine, we were training for that, and that was going to happen in May. And Stephen came along and approached, and this was supposed to happen in September. And so it just kind of seemed like, well, I mean, okay, it'll push me out of my comfort zone, but I know everybody on the team. I didn't really know him, but I knew Josh and Krista. And then we had a crew person, Jason, as well, who was instrumental. But I didn't know Stephen or Jason. So it was just kind of that gut check of, okay, let me think about it. Talk to my husband, and he's like, well, you do stuff like this all the time, so why not? And there was that element of, will we really get picked? You know, we're a small group of rookies from Redding, California. You know, we didn't know what our chances were. And so it was just kind of like, you know what, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. And like, it'll be okay. And so we applied, and then we got selected. And then it was like, oh, okay. So now what? So longer trainings, like working on different skill sets, and just kind of that faith of like, all right, well, God's seeing us through this, so it's a go. We're gonna do it.
So from the time, I mean, tell me just a little snippet about the very first time you did some kind of endurance marathon to now. Like, what is the difference between Heather then and Heather now?
That's a good question. You know, when I first started, so I didn't start running until I was in my 30s. I was not a runner growing up. I actually had a severe eating disorder. And so I was sick and thin and was afraid to do anything. And so fast forward through some stints in rehab and learning coping skills and learning that it's okay to try and fail. My definition of failure was going to be like, that's it. That's the end of it. Like, you can't do anything if you think you're going to fail, because then you're worthless. And learning that, no, like, people fail all the time. They're lessons, learning lessons. And so, you know, I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro and needed to train for that. And just with the environment here, hot summers and winters, started getting into CrossFit as a way of helping train and learn that I'm not great at CrossFit, but
me neither.
I can run. And just through that and learning, like, okay, so my first marathon, I was so nervous and just had these expectations, and I finished, and I didn't meet those expectations by 13 minutes, mind you. So close, but not there. And it was like, I'm still okay. I'm still fine. Like, it was such an amazing experience.
So I'm going to just put this up in here. Can any of the people, anyone that is listening right now, either to this live or the recording, so this is going to be up on YouTube and in Facebook, so it's lasting the lifetime of either of those platforms. But to have those feelings of being afraid to fail, like so many women that I work with, intelligent, ambitious women, are about accomplishing things. And when we don't accomplish those things, sometimes it can be really hard. We can be hard on ourselves. So it sounds like through that kind of process and that growth, you really learned how to, I guess I would say, just trust yourself and know what you're willing to do.
And learning that it's okay to not meet that expectation. I mean, now when I approach these races, obviously I still put a lot of pressure on myself and I want to do well. But at the end of the day, I want to walk away with the enjoyment of finishing and walking away fulfilled in some regard. So enjoying the experience as I'm out there. I recently did a 60K in Zion in May, which was surprising with COVID and everything. They actually still had it. And I started off the race just in my head and pissy about it. And like, this is going to suck. I haven't trained because I didn't think it was going to happen. And I got to do 38 miles. And then like partway through, I actually ran into this other runner who he just kind of got me out of my head and we just started running together. And it just like complete 180 of, okay. And then the rest of the race, it was just like head up, enjoying the views. Like he ran by and he's like, good job. I was like, the hell, I'm capable of more. This is not a good job. And so then I was like, all right, Heather, get your butt in gear and let's go. And so then I ended up like catching up to him. And then we just kind of created this bond throughout the race and then just have maintained communication since then. And just the people you meet, the experiences that you gain, no matter the outcome. If I wouldn't have finished or if I would have finished, like meeting people, and nobody can take those experiences away from you. The views, the blisters, whatever it may be, like it leaves its mark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't even imagine. I did a 100-yard dash when I was like in the 4th grade and got like first place. And that was like the most amount of running I've ever done. I know that was like high accomplishment. And, you know, I've rode with my dad and with my wife, you know, a couple of centuries on a bicycle and stuff. But I've been really watching and into these endurance documentaries because they are so inspirational to me as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, how did you handle knowing, or give us an idea of how you were being filmed, and how did you handle knowing that any vulnerable moment that you had no idea which one, if they chose any at all, how did you handle that? Like,
yeah. So we were not one of the featured teams that had a film crew with them throughout the entire race. Some teams did, we did not. But it seemed like they were in the bushes and they would kind of like pop out at any time. And so one example, I treat a lot of things with humor and sarcasm. Like there's one situation where we're pushing our bikes up dirt hills and Krista and I start singing, "This is the hill that never ends." But the old Barney song, "This is the song that never ends." Yes. And then out of nowhere pops the camera guy and is like, "Can you repeat that?" And he's filming us as we're walking. And so we do, because we're delirious. And then our teammates were like, you know that's probably going to make the show and you guys are going to look ridiculous. And at first it was like, oh, I don't care. Like, whatever. And then it was like, oh, I am going to look ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it's embracing the moments, embracing who you are. I had stomach issues like throughout the entire race. And humility kind of, it's humbling and, you know, it is what it is. And there were some amazing moments of like team camaraderie that they could have shown as much as they could have shown the humiliating ones. But at the end of the day, like we were out there, we were doing it, and it was raw emotion. It was raw moments that, you know, if the world sees it, that's okay, because it is, I am who I am, and that's okay.
I hear that, you know, I hear a lot of female entrepreneurs are scared to be visible, to be seen, to be heard, because they're afraid someone is going to judge them. And especially, you know, I can't imagine when I did a century ride and we dropped down into this valley and it was so hot and, you know, we were dehydrated and we were like eating those emergency packets and trying to get ourselves, and it's so hot. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. You know, when we have those moments of fear, those are the times, the majority of the time. So remember, we're not going to extremes here,
Sure.
but when
Yeah.
we have those moments of fear, that is the time when we decide whether or not we're going to continue to move forward and which way that's going to be. And no matter how we move forward, it doesn't mean that we're failing. Moving forward
Right.
is the success, right?
Absolutely. Everything is a learning experience. I mean, looking back, I can nitpick life and be like, oh, well, why did that happen? Or this should have been different and this should have been different. But at the end of the day, I don't know where I would be if those things had not happened.
Mm-hmm.
So in training for Kilimanjaro, it was supposed to be a father-daughter trip. My mom was going to meet us when we were done with my son. We were going to do a safari. And my mom ended up getting sick with cancer, super rare type of cancer that she had zero risk factors for. She was one of the head nurses at Shasta Regional, like a health freak, basically. And she got this type of cancer, and she was diagnosed on my birthday. And then a year and a half later, so on Christmas Eve, she passed away. And it's been 5 years since then. But looking back, why did that have to happen? And I still don't know the answer to that. And I just have faith that, God has his plans and I'm playing my role in that, whatever that may be. But 2 days before she died, she had woken up from a nap and she was lucid. And so I was like, oh, well, I was supposed to go do something. And I was like, forget it. I'm just going to stay home. Or stay at their house. And her and I had this great conversation, and she made me promise her that no matter what happened in life, that I would continue to push myself. I would go on the trip with or without anybody. I would fulfill that dream of climbing Kilimanjaro. I would continue to push myself. She worried about me being so type A and high strung and, all that kind of fun stuff too. But she still wanted me to pursue those dreams and not use her as an excuse to just give up. And or to be so sad that I didn't have drive to do anything. And so for me, I did go to Kilimanjaro. I did go by myself. I met some amazing people. And to me, that was a life-defining moment, because had I gone with people I knew, I would have been safe. I would have had those people I could go to after dinner to go and talk to. Whereas when you're by yourself, I hung out with the Sherpas or with the porters and, watched the stars and just kind of had that time of reflection. And it was super emotional, but again, the friendships and the memories that I made and that empowerment that I got of knowing I did this, like I did this, was life-changing.
Yeah. How many times have you had that feeling? Like, I did this. Like, I can't imagine how many times you've had it. Like, I did it.
Yeah, for me, I kind of get wrapped up in the moment and don't really think about it until afterwards. Like, then I was like, oh, I did it. But a lot of times I am hard on myself and I expect a lot from myself. And so in the moments, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I should have done that. And then I look back and I'm like, wow. Like I did that. Like all of us finishing this race, like we did that. We did that as a team. And it was my first real team event. So I put a lot of pressure on myself to be, to not be the weakest links, to train extra hours. I had a buddy of mine, the one that I went to Romania with, he helped me with strength program to get me stronger, because strength doesn't come easy to me. I'm built for endurance. And so, but I had to be stronger. I had to put on some weight for the race. And, just really reaching out to people around me for that support and help, and not being afraid of asking for help, which I also struggle with, because I want to do it all on my own and I want to control it. And that's something that I still struggle with. And I'm learning that it's good to ask for help and to let people in. The reward is exponential.
Yes. I totally agree. So if you're watching this recording or the live, make sure to put into the comments right now if you're able to relate, intelligent, ambitious women, women that are drivers, women that want to accomplish something. We can be really hard on ourselves, and we can have these expectations that honestly are not realistic. And when you look back to see that Like, I can't imagine. I just was like crying during the show, and like there was all this, but that's nothing new. I mean, anyone who knows me knows that Rachel Freeman Sowers just cries sometimes. That's how it works. But like,
so do I. My husband can attest to that.
but it's like I cannot, like, just trying to feel the way that was, and watching them push the mountain bikes up the mud, and I was like, I don't know if I would be able to be like that. Like, I would have to go somewhere else in my head, like that Barney song for sure.
Yeah.
Tell me the emotions that you had when you're paddling. So, and I was really disappointed because I really wish they would have showed more of you, because like hometown peeps were like, where are they? Where are they? And Ronica was literally like, okay, we just got to keep watching, keep watching. She's on there. So, but tell me how it was feeling. Like, you're sitting there on the boat, you're paddling, you see the island. What are the emotions and feelings you're having?
Okay. So this is a story in and of itself. So we underestimated how far it was. When we started that last paddling leg, we underestimated how far it was to the actual island. Mm-hmm. And as we approached it, the currents got stronger, the wind got stronger, the elements were not in our favor. And we spent so much energy getting to the checkpoint right before the finish. So the finish was on one island and the checkpoint was right next to it. Oh. And so on another island, about 6 kilometers away, I'd say, about 4 miles. And so we were like, okay, well, let's rest. We didn't think the currents, it was just not in our favor. And so we decided to rest for a bit, and then we all started feeling better. So we had to go around a cove and then out back to the little channel to get to the finish line. And so as we get out, it's about 5 o'clock at night, and sunset is like 6, sunrise is at 6. So you got about 12 hours of darkness. Mm-hmm. And so we come around the cove, and it's about 5:30ish or so, and we're in alignment with the current. So, I mean, we're perpendicular to it, I guess, or parallel. We're parallel to it. So the waves are like, we're about to tip, we're going to capsize. There's some internal strife going on as far as like, you go this way, you go this way, you go this way, paddling, just trying to work as a machine to get it. And we again made the call, we're not going to make it. And so we ended up pulling our canoe up onto a beach, deserted beach, on the other side of the island from the checkpoint. We could see the finish line. We could not get there that night. We spent the entire night looking at the finish line, the lights of the finish line, unable to get there. We were pretty much out of food, out of fresh water. And we decided, we just have to stay the night here. We're all just too exhausted. Mm-hmm. Can't do this. But if we go in the morning, it's going to be low tide. We don't know if the currents or the weather is going to change at all. So it's a big risk. And then we will be at approaching the time cap. And so, but we decided we just got to sleep. So I think all of us had really weird dreams that night. Josh was walking off into the woods, and it was just very bizarre dreams. And we woke up the next morning and we were like, all right, well, do or die. We're going to make a go of it. And so before we left, let's pray. So we had a little group prayer, and Chris, I'll never forget it. And it's still something I keep in my mind now. She said, strength like Samson, give us strength like Samson. And we missed the reefs. Our boat, it was smooth. It should not have been that easy. And our boat didn't hit any reefs. The tide, the currents were still strong, and the waves were still 4-foot swells, but they were less than 6 foot. And we were just able to do it. And so once we got past kind of the break and we realized, oh my gosh, we're actually going to make it. Then it was you see those memes of the yoga person where it's they're so dainty and pretty, and it's what I think, and then reality, and it's the upside down elephant. That's how we felt. We had helicopters and drones on us as we were approaching the finish line, and we're feeling we're in sync. We must look amazing, and who knows what we actually looked like when we were there. We probably were more like the elephant than the gazelle, but and that that moment when we realized like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to make it was so surreal and just like, oh, a breath of fresh air. And then we get to the finish line and then it was kind of like, oh, okay, we're done. It was at the moment, it was just kind of like, I feel like our finish line was in the water when we knew we were going to make it. That was when like the emotions hit and we were like, oh my gosh, we did this. We did this as a team. Our goal was to finish and come back friends. And we were finishing and coming back family. Like there's nothing I wouldn't do for any of those people on my team. You know, and just the stories and the camaraderie and just all the moments that weren't captured that will always be with us. That was our finish line. So when we did finish, of course, it was amazing. And Bear Grylls is there, whom I have like an insane crush on. And I probably said that I don't know how many times throughout the race. So if that got aired, I'd be mortified. But they didn't air that, thankfully. And, you know, that was epic and awesome. But for me personally, like when we knew we were going to make it and that was our finish line, was in the water before we had actually finished, when it was just like, we did it. Like, oh my God, we did it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So for everyone watching live or recorded, I would love to hear, Heather and I want to know, if you could do anything right now with no restrictions, what would it be? Like there's no obstacles in your way. You have an opportunity. You have this thing that you've been wanting to do. What would it be? Let me know, because this is where we get inspired. And a little bit of a pre-show that you guys weren't able to see, but you know, I was talking to Heather and asking her if she really knows what an inspiration she is to so many people. Now she's going to turn red. She has that look on her face.
Fighting over here, I have fans blowing on me.
Hey, girl, I do too. They're it's all good. So like these are the moments when we realize the impact and that we get to make, you know, the impact that I get to make and the impact that Heather and I are making right now with this really little tiny live show. But that it's going to reach people, and there could be hundreds of people that watch this that we never know, but that will walk away saying, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I want to do. And this is what I'm going to set my mind and my body and my spirit to, because I am sure, and Heather, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were out there, it wasn't just a mind game.
Oh no.
You know, it's a mind, it's a body game. It's like, how do I need to talk to my body? How do I need to listen to my body? We needed to stop and rest. We just knew we had to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, we all had moments of hallucinations.
So, and then like you have the spirit that comes in is on this last leg. You're like, I know we're finishing. I know we're finishing. Right. And so these are the things that create human connection. These are the things that really enrich our human condition of wanting to be seen and heard. And I just want to say again, thank you so much, Heather, for being here. Tell us what is next for you.
Well, we did as a team apply for Eco Challenge Patagonia, so the next one. Okay. So we don't know if we made it or not. I have qualified for a race in Switzerland that will take me through 3 countries. And so I'm waiting to hear if I get picked. I did qualify, but you still have to get picked. And I think right now, another goal of mine that's not fitness related at all is just my family. I spend a lot of time away training, a lot of hours, and just being home and incorporating my family in my training. My son works out at the gym with me now a lot, and just because at the end of the day, that's who I come home to. And that's my backbone when I do these things. And I think I lost sight of that for a bit, you know, just because I put so much pressure on myself and I didn't want to let my team down. And my husband he's a machine and takes care of things at home so I can go do these things. But yeah, I have lots of, you know, fitness goals, but also big, you know, spiritual and familial, just get right. Yeah.
Well, you just let me know if you need like an professional emotional support person to go to Switzerland. I mean, like I can be
Yes.
it. Like just
I
your
need crew. I do need crew people for it. It's going to be a long enough race. So you and Veronica.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not joking. Like everyone, she thinks I'm joking. I'm not joking.
No, I'm serious too. I need crew people. I need people willing to meet me on the trail.
Oh, totally. We would totally be there for you. So I got this quote off of an article, and if you check in the description box on YouTube, it will be in there. But you had said to use your success to drive you on to the next challenge. Find a new goal, especially one that scares you, and crush it. So I guess that's it. Like, there's nothing else to say. Like, let's go crush the goals that we have and really stay focused. What is one last thing you would tell someone if they have doubt about themselves of whether they can do something or not? What would you say to them?
Start small and prove to yourself that you can do it. I mean, if you've never ran a marathon before, don't go out and try to run a marathon right now. Start with a mile.
Yeah.
Start with 2, start with 5, do a 5K and realize like I can do that. Okay, now what? And then just like, honestly, that's what I did. And if it weren't for people around me telling me I could do more, I don't know that I would have pushed myself that hard. Build yourself a community and do it. And you'd be surprised. And you know what? If you fall short, try again.
Well, thank you so much. I just have so much gratitude in my heart. And so, as I always say at the end of every single video, make sure to stay true to yourself, be kind to others, and always, always, always honor the wise one that is within you. I hope to see you all next week on the next Rachel Freeman Sowers live show. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.